Heidi ho, my peeps. I might possibly be in heaven. I think maybe I could have died and gone to heaven because I am in a very, very deep, very commodious, which it needs to be for me to be contained in it, a jetted bathtub with plenty of hot water in a little canyon 15 miles from the ocean, visiting my son. And before I go any further, I've got to show you guys my view from here. So here's my water. I'm well submerged in it. I'm wearing clothes, which is a stupid thing to do in the bathtub, unless you're afraid you're going to fall getting out. And this tub is dangerous to get out of. So I figured if I fall, I want to at least be dressed when the 911 people get me. Okay, so this is what my son left for me here to use, all these wonderful products. I've got this Raw Naturals in my hair right now. And I just love neato bath stuff. He also very thoughtfully left a loofah, which is going to be fun to use when I'm in clothes. But check this out. Look at this big window that is right here in the bathroom. It is just so beautiful. What a great view. And see if I'm gonna hang on. It may get a little bit splashy. I'm trying to sit up. Okay, there we go. And so you see what it actually looks out on is like the side garden. So yeah, I just think it's wonderful. So now we're gonna flip this around. Okay, so as is my habit when I do a bath time confessional, I'm going to tell you guys a story. My bath time confessional stories are often of an intimate nature, often embarrassing, but this one isn't. So I don't have to NC-18 my video. Anyhow, this is a requested story by my dear friend Stephie, who wanted to know where I got the name Coyote in my branding, my Cheryl Coyote. Coyote is not my last name, although I actually know a couple people who have that last name legitimately, but I chose it, and here's why. Now, some of you guys may have heard this story before, but Stephie, this is for you. So, my friend Abigail and I, boy, we were road dogs together about 10 years ago. We went on our cross-country trip, hauling a trailer from here to the East Coast and back again, and we've done trips to the coast. We've gone up to Oregon together. We've done a lot of traveling, hanging out. She used to live not too far from where I am now, and then she moved to Northern California, and I'm in Central California, so we don't get together as often as I would like. Definitely not. But one day we're sitting around, probably drinking, as I recall, and we were talking about getting old and how your mindset changes when you get old and how your behavior changes too. And she was telling me about how the last time she went in to get her driver's license renewed, she hadn't gotten a new picture or any new stats in, who knows, 20 years probably. So it was time for new stats: height, weight, hair color, eye color, do you wear glasses, blah, blah. And so they get to the hair color part, and the lady's looking, and she says, well, you're definitely not blonde. And Abigail jumps in and she says, no. She says, no, I'm not blonde. I think you would call my hair color coyote. And the lady looks at her, and Abigail says, yeah. She says, look, it's exactly the same as a coyote. Got a little bit of brown here, a little bit of blonde down at the tips, a whole lot of gray mixed in, a lot of gray up in the front. She said, wouldn't you call this coyote? And the lady wasn't having any of it. She just kind of, shook her head and looked down and said, we're going to call this gray. So Abigail she was a little put out. She said, well, there should be a designation in your computer for people who have multicolor natural hair. My hair is not gray. It is brown and kind of blonde, and it's sort of gray. It kind of got a little bit of green going up, going on up in here. So she didn't want to push it because she was afraid the lady was going to call security. Anyhow, she just was in a huff when she left, and then of course the humor of it overtook her, and she laughed all the way home. Well, she told me that story, and I for some reason it just tickled my funny bone, and which was probably alcohol fused. I mean alcohol induced, and so we just laughed and left and had a great time. Well, that was long before, maybe a year before, 18 months before, I changed my channel name, which used to be Alexis Wiseman, which is not my name either, but that's another long story. But well, before, it was well before I changed my name to Cheryl Coyote. And I was casting around trying to figure out what should I call my channel. And I remembered the story that she had told me about the coyote colored hair. And my hair was coyote colored, still is, but it was very coyote at the time. I had like some purple and some green and some blue and some blonde and some gray and some brown and some black. I mean, it's just it was, yeah, I wasn't coloring my hair consistently back then, and I've stopped coloring it now. So, but anyhow, point is, I thought, yeah, you know what? I really like that, and I like the name Coyote for several reasons. One, it describes the conventionally indescribable. You can't conventionally call your hair coyote, even though it's the best description. And that, it seems like the older we get, especially women, I don't know if this happens to men or not, but I know it happens to women. The older we get, the more open we are to unconventional, to creating our own rules about how our lives really are. So I thought, yeah, I like that. I also like the whole aesthetic of the coyote. You know, coyotes kind of slink around, trotting along beside the road, they're up on a hill, they're generally alone, they're always making bad decisions and running across the road at just the worst possible time. And if they happen to make it, they're like, whew, okay, all right, I made it that time. We'll see if I make it the next time. They're scroungers, and they're not upwardly mobile, and they, don't aspire to grandeur at all. They just run along their little trails, doing their little thing, just being coyotes, authentically being coyotes. And it occurred to me that really describes me. I am very much like a coyote in, the way I see myself and in my world and how I live and all of that. And I'm proud of that. I think that's a very good way to be, at least for me. So therein lies the story of how I got the name Cheryl Coyote for my channel. So what I'm going to do now is finish soaking in this wonderful tub. And when I finally get the courage, I'm going to heave myself up out of it and attempt to make it over this wall here. It would be easy if the back to this tub weren't slanted. That's the problem. I mean, you have a really wide step from where the slant stops and the floor over here begins. So I'm going to have to make a little hippity-hoppity jump over this wall to make it happen. So we'll see. Just in case I am dressed, and if I'm unconscious, the 911 people could, at least haul me out of here without, too much indignity. So, on that little note, I am going to say goodbye, and Stephie, I hope you enjoyed the story.